Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Through the Struggle. This is episode 5. Today, we will be talking about how to deal with mental health illnesses and issues with mental health in general, such as bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, depression, PTSD. You know the gist.
And I just want to basically explain how important not only mental health but physical health is actually to the person. Because if you're not mentally and physically prepared, healthy, or strong, whatever however you want to put it, there's a lot of things in life that you won't be prepared for. It's a lot of things that will make you always go back the way you came from, and you don't want to ever go back that way. But if you're not mentally prepared for it, it's going to always happen like that because you're a creature of habit. If you grew up one way, that's all you know. And if you're not really prepared or mentally and physically prepared to take those steps, because life gets hard. Like things happen that you're not prepared for. And I know this from experience. I'm only 23 years old right now, but a lot of things in my life that happened, I did not plan to happen. I was not prepared for it to happen, or I just didn't know the consequences of it.
Yeah.
So when I actually went into it, I didn't know how much of a struggle it would be getting myself out of it. So to segue back into the mental health issues, I know that my family comes from a lineage of mental health disorders, mainly bipolar, and just things like that. And I didn't believe that I could suffer from mental health issues. I didn't believe it just because I felt like I'm good, I'm normal, everything's about me is good. But scientifically proven, like I don't always go off of what it was scientifically proven, but this right here is like a real thing. Genetically, that mental health issues follow the lineage. Down the lineage, it continues to trickle down, especially if you don't get any help with it. Like if you figure it out early, nip it in the bud, you can, contain it. But if you're like me, people in my family, things like that, and you just let everything be, like, because what it really is, like, you just don't know the symptoms you display with mental health disorders. So when I finally figured out that I'm actually a part of this mental health disorder group of people and stuff, it just took me like off guard.
Yeah, you went through like the grieving process. Like,
Yeah, because it was like
in denial.
I start actually realizing like my brain and my mind is made different, and it is not always just like bipolar disorder or things like that. Sometimes it's just about the way you learn. Because like I was a horrible student at school. Right now I'm in nursing school. I'm doing a lot better. But when I was in elementary school, high school, I didn't really even go to high school because the things I was going through in life. But in elementary school, it was just always D's and F's. Me getting depressed about certain things I shouldn't have got depressed about or not got that down on myself about.
Yeah.
But as I got older and realized I actually suffered from a mental health issue, you got to take the proper steps.
Yeah.
If medication is the way to go, I believe, I know it's a debate about it among the Christian fellowship, but right now just for
Podcast purposes.
yeah podcast purposes, mental health is, people don't know what you go through, so you can't let someone say that you're disobeying or you're not doing this right because they don't know. Because I know myself, it's a struggle just to do things the average person can actually do.
Yeah. Also, what comes to mental health in general is people who grew up in positions where we were growing up at, like the hood areas and the ghetto and all the other stuff, they brush it off. Like, it's not possible for you to even be able to have a mental illness, or you just brush it off. Your parents brush it off like you just go through mood disorders. You just go through mood swings. You're just going through hormones, et cetera, blah, 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 all that other stuff. But deep down inside, that person, that child that you're saying, oh, no, she doesn't have a mental illness, she's just going through hormones, or he's not really mentally ill, he's just acting out. He could be dealing with something worse. Also, you just gotta take that stuff under consideration, especially when it comes to having children in general. And then on top of that, growing up with yourself, if you're not mentally stable, you're not gonna be able to be mentally stable to take care of your children. You're not gonna be able to mentally stable to take care of your daily livings. You're not gonna be mentally stable for anything. And I deal with a lot of mental health disease. Well, not diseases, but illnesses myself. Like I got diagnosed with bipolar depression 1 at 13. I got depression at 13. I got PTSD at 15. Like I had been through a lot of stuff too, and it took a lot for me to get to where I'm at now, to be able to actually take down when I'm feeling some type of way and break it down. Why are you feeling like this? Why is this, and the third, and actually fix it. It took a lot, and there's a lot of coping mechanisms, and when you don't have no support system, it's hard to deal with it, because even to this day, I deal with a little stuff in my own self, and it just needs to be more out there. People need to speak about it more than how they do. You know, it's just like how sickle cell is. Like, they barely know anything about it. People just brush it off like, oh, it's just a disease. No, there's more to it.
Yeah, I think it's really because that only about 10 to 15% of Americans actually suffer from mental disorder. So it's like the average American is brushing it off.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with the sickle cell thing. It's not too many people who actually suffer from this issue, especially in America.
Yeah.
Like, so people are just like not taking it seriously, which especially since I got older. It's like I'm only 23 years old now, but like I done seen so much, been through so much, and it's just like I realized that mental health, because you don't have to be just genetically exposed to mental health. You can acquire it over time, PTSD, going through a lot of things in your life. And I realized that mental health starts from a young child. Mm-hmm. So sometimes it's not always your fault. The way you're set up mentally, it could have been the way you grew up, the positions your parents put you in, and just like things like that. And I feel like parents are not only parents, but people who are not you, because you only know what's going on in your head, how you cope with certain situations and stuff. It's only you, and people can always underestimate it.
Yeah.
Until something bad happens,
Especially when you're going through something that, especially as a child, on top of having a mental illness with having the hormones of being a teenager, right. You don't know which one is which, and you're going through so much stuff, and when you don't have nobody to talk to, you start taking negative actions towards that situation, and it gets downplayed, or you get in trouble for it, and you don't even honestly know what's going on. So, I mean, there's a lot of ways that you can cope with it, but sometimes medication is not always the answer either, because a child, like I said, a child or a teenager can go through hormones and a mental illness, and you'll put her on medication, and the medication doesn't work because it's it's actual for that diagnosis, it's for that mental thing, and if you don't have a mental imbalance, it's going to mess you up more. Right. Especially high doses of medications. So you got to figure out what you can do for yourself. How could you fix it? Like, what coping mechanisms can you use? Like, what coping mechanisms do you use?
Yeah, I really don't. I still deal with like a lot of issues, because I'm just now realizing that I actually need to get help. So I still didn't even take my necessary steps to get myself together yet. I'm still working on it, but I have so much going on right now. But some coping mechanisms could be probably counting to 10.
That don't work.
Yeah.
It don't work.
I know that's when I learned. Screaming into your pillow when you're angry. Mm-hmm. You could just like distract yourself. But the biggest thing I feel like a coping mechanism is just having a great support system. Yeah. I know people can't always have that, because certain situations you can't change. But I feel like if you have a great support system, family, the medical departments, like the doctors, nurses, therapists, things like that, your hobbies you do. Like, if you just have a good support system, the mental health is you can cope with it so much easier.
Yeah.
But like when you're put in all bad situations and the stress is like boiling up inside you and so much is going on around you, and it's just too much going on. I feel like it always will have negative effects on even the most sanest person in the world.
Yeah. I mean, everybody goes through stuff. That's one thing that people can't deny. Everybody in the world goes through something that they have to deal with. And some people are a little more than others. And one thing about it is it's not a competition on who goes through worse. You just got to be there to uplift the other person. But my thing is, what can you do when you have no support system? That's what I want to know, because we're still at an awe for that. We don't know what's going on, like how to even deal with that. Because I come from a family where half side of my family is habitual liars and the other half is bipolar, schizophrenic, and flips out for nothing. So that's what I grew up around. Well, I didn't grow around the other part, but I grew up around that. So that's what I got used to. And I just started realizing they can't even accept that they have mental illnesses. So how could I accept
Right.
I have a mental illness? I'm thinking that spazzing out and punching stuff and chasing people with knives and stuff is normal. I mean, that's how you get raised. That's what's supposed to happen.
Yeah, but it's just like death. I feel it's like you got to go through the grieving process, acceptance. Like you have to first accept that. Okay, I'm low key. You feel me? I got a mental health issue. I got to figure out what it is. Go get yourself diagnosed. Figure out what it is. Grieve about it for a minute. You gotta go. You feel me? But you gotta get help, because you can't reach your full potential in life. Even if you become a millionaire, get your dream job. If you would have had your mental health under control, you could have did so much more. I feel.
Well, support systems are for people who are not from like the situations we went through. They all have mommy and daddy, cousin, brother. We're here for you. We're gonna help you 100%.
Right,
we
though.
had, boy, if you don't go sit your raggedy ass down, go sit down. Boy, you talking about mental illness? Get the fuck out my face. That's what we had to do, it, and that's what I'm trying to help these people who listening to that, because they could be that little nappy headed boy.
Get their ass beat.
Yeah, to get your ass beat because you decided you wanted to spaz out at school because a teacher called you some stupid name or something because you don't know how to deal with it. How do you deal with that? Okay, this is how you deal with it. For one, you got to accept it. You got to accept that you have a mental illness for ones. It's like an AA program. Like, you have to accept I'm an alcoholic. I'm going to do this. You have to accept that you have a mental illness.
Yeah, because I'm 23 years old and I just realized I had one about a few weeks ago. You feel me? So, like, you really have to accept it. And then as I look back in my life, I can actually see the behavior I displayed to actually, oh yeah, bro,
we can laugh about it now because that's like a coping mechanism. Like, laughing about the simple fact that you have to go through that.
Yeah, laughter is a medicine.
I haven't been on medication for years, and you definitely never been on medications other than.
I was on medication before.
Well, when you were, but that wasn't willingly. They was just trying to get your ass to sit the fuck down.
Right,
but what I'm saying is, like, I haven't been on medication for years, and I still had moments where I spazzed out, but. One thing I had is motivation. My children motivate me, like, do not show your ass in front of these kids because you don't want these kids to be just like you. Right. So you have to focus on something that motivates you to help you. Like, what can get you in your state of mind? If you like to write down every feeling you have. Whether it's disrespectful feelings towards somebody or not, just write them down, ball it up, burn it. Or just keep it in a journal and hide it. Well, I don't recommend that because I done got my journal invaded a few times.
Yeah, and then once you actually get over the problem, you open the journal back up, you get right back heated because, like, she did what?
She read my shit. What?
Right, though.
I know I said something about I wanted to freaking spaz. I said I wanted to beat somebody up. And somebody read my stuff for legal purposes. I'm not allowed to speak on it, but somebody read my stuff and was like, you said you about to beat who? Okay, took me all the way over to that girl house, and I was about to get ready to fight the girl for nothing just because I wrote it in my journal. But the girl wasn't home, so. But still, you know how that shit goes. Or when you are forced into pressurous situations, you're forced to be grown up more than you are. Like I said, you're 23, I'm 22. And I feel like I'm 40. Like, I had to grow up so fast. We had our first house at, like, 17 years old. Like, we was out.
I feel like I'm ready to retire.
I feel like I'm ready to retire. I be, like, feeling like, oh, my God. Like, I be looking, like, at certain things that I do, like, with my hair or something. I be like,
Yeah, and it's still sad. I'm just disappointed I didn't actually get the experience. I know it's partially my fault because of the decisions I made, but
we should have had guidance.
Yeah, I didn't get the chance to actually let me be a kid. Let's go play basketball. Let me get on the football team.
Let's go to the movies. Let's go on a date.
Yeah.
Let's get popcorn. No.
Right, though. Go on dates with popcorn. And, you feel me?
Get your ass on that block. Go sell some drugs.
Yeah, nigga, we on the block. I'm fighting. I'm in jail. So it's like I'm living this lifestyle adults should live, and then especially inside the DHs inside Cleveland,
That
it's
would
like,
give you PTSD.
right?
Alone.
Like you would have rather been in the county, but yeah, like the lifestyle we both had to live actually at a young age. Even when I went to foster care, like it's like I couldn't be an average child because my mom and my father my father wasn't really around a lot, but my mom wasn't situated yet. She was still going through what she was going through, and it affected me like drastically.
Yeah.
And because like it's really things like people explain to me like, yeah, this is how it was when I was younger. I just can't, and it's like whenever they speak about it, I get upset. I really don't want to speak about it because I realize like I never got to experience it. But I feel like that contributed to my mental health. Just not being able to actually go through the steps and processes of being a child. You know you have to grow. You shouldn't go from being a 7-year-old kid to being a grown ass man and out of jail selling drugs. That shouldn't be the jump. It should have been like in between.
Yeah.
Let me be a teenager. Let me do teenage. Let me learn from my mistakes. Let me make these mistakes, but due to unfortunate circumstances,
Right.
I couldn't even go to high school because I got so deep into like the beef. Like this right around times that people start to die. You know, before you can go to school and get in a fight, you'll get jumped once in a while, but you're not gonna get killed. So once people start dying, guns start getting involved. Not only me, but everyone around that 9th grade time will start tapering away from high school because like someone just can come up to your high school and see you, boom. And it happened numerous times, especially on the east side of Cleveland. People just showed up to the school, killed them. Next day, school back in session.
And they in school with you. Like,
Yeah,
I shot and killed the nigga yesterday.
right though. Like
It
next
don't
day,
matter.
school back in session, you're dead, and it's like, hey, it's Cleveland. So it's just like,
And that's PTSD too. Like,
yeah, PTSD, and it's a trauma. Like you shouldn't have to deal with trauma.
Well, yeah, you shouldn't have to deal with trauma. But some things help you get stronger, and some things just destroy you. Because I know I realized that I had, I didn't realize I had depression or anything, but I realized that there was something wrong with me when I was younger, like growing up in a abusive household. Like when you're younger, you just start crying for nothing. Like all you could think about is depressed things. You don't know what's going on with yourself. You just can't stop crying. You can't stop laughing. You can't stop. Because depression is just, it can work both ways.
It's like emotional instability.
Yeah, so I found myself battling up these feelings for years and years, and then I started self-harming. And then when I found out that I was self-harming, I was doing it for like 3-4 months without nobody knowing because I would always wear like long sleeve shirts or something. But people at the school were doing it for self-attention and stuff, so it just, like, I was trying to avoid that at all costs. But it's something when it takes 3 to 4 months for somebody to find out that you're actually harming yourself. But when they found out, I got my ass beat. Like, I was like, what the fuck? Like, I'm doing this shit because it helps me so I don't spaz, or it helps me so I don't have these emotional thoughts. And then the bipolar situations, like, random moments I'll be okay, and the next minute I'm just mad because I think about some things that happened that I don't even know what happened for real, or I'm just putting scenarios in my head, and it's not normal. And then when you finally get help for it, it's way too late, because then that's when the trauma comes. You get PTSD from molestations, you get PTSD from the abuse, you get PTSD from everything. I'm still dealing with PTSD today. Like, I'm doing great in school, I got straight A's, but that's not all because of no good things. That's because growing up, if you did not get straight A's, or you did not get B's, you're getting your ass whooped like crazy. So I got that shit in my head, like, I can't get a C, I can't get a B, I can't do this, I gotta get straight A's. And it's stressing me out. Like, it's causing too much pain and stress and all the other stuff.
Yeah, and then the next step after acceptance, I feel it should be diagnosed. Like, you should go get a diagnosis. Mm-hmm. Like, you shouldn't go off of what anyone else is telling you. You know, everyone is a doctor nowadays. And then, you know, we live in a world of Google, so you just can Google your symptoms up and just, you feel me? But
or people think it's cute to have a mental illness.
Yeah, oh yeah, I'm toxic. Like that's not when you grow up and actually become an adult, you realize being
It's just
toxic.
annoying.
Yeah, being toxic is not. It's not really about being annoying. Being toxic is just like not healthy.
Yeah.
Like it's not healthy not only for you or your partner, but the children, the people around you. You can do it, but that's why people who usually think things like that are cool is like the people who get left behind.
Mm-hmm.
It's never really anyone who actually wants to excel in life who thinks being toxic or poison or whatever, however you want to put it,
Or
is like
crazy girlfriend, crazy boyfriend.
yeah, because it's really not, especially when you're trying to build something, when you're trying to grow up, you have a family, you don't want to be toxic, and sometimes people say it so much as a joke or as a just want to be cute about it. It's really people out here dealing with it.
And there's people who kill people from that toxic stuff.
Yeah.
This stuff is real. Like, I watch TikTok and there's this girl I follow and she covers like the most amazing stories like I never heard before. And I'm into these crime scenes. Like I'm into these stories. And she was telling a story about a girl who was holding her twin babies in her hand. And her boyfriend was so obsessed and weird. He was in the Navy. He literally left his base, came over there, shot her dad in the head twice, and shot both her twins in their head. They're 5 months old while she was holding them. Then shot her, and then killed himself. Just because you could tell he had a mental illness, and not only that, it's like, bruh, what the fuck? Nobody should have to go through stuff like that because of you. You have to get yourself together. Like, it's crazy because you see mental illness everywhere.
Yeah, right. But I feel like it's a little different from the Army. The Army can really, like, put you in a mental state that most people are not accustomed to being in. Just seeing the dead bodies, having to, do you know how the military is. So I feel like, I don't know. And then, that's a different subject.
One thing I have to say before anybody have to say anything about that situation, I'm not saying that he is the guy who killed the kids and killed the stuff and stuff. It's not an excuse for him to have a mental illness. He's still a monster. He's still horrible because I'm not trying to have that little situation come on. Like, people start coming underneath the video, but it's still horrible. But you have to get that stuff under control. Go down there and get a diagnosis.
Yeah, because...
Another thing, look up medications. Look them up before you start taking them, too.
Yeah, but medication shouldn't be the first step. I feel like it should be like steps put in place and implemented before you start thinking, okay, I got to get medicated.
See a therapist.
Yeah, see a therapist. See a therapy help you get a good support system, find out some great coping skills, things like that. You should take steps. Medication should always be a last option.
That's what I
you
feel.
pray to God, whatever faith you are. You should always pray to your God, and just
don't let it get bottled up either.
Yeah, don't bottle it up. And after diagnosis, I feel like you should get to the process of just like self-awareness, basically. Like, okay, I'm aware now. So now when I display these behaviors, it's not like you can stop them.
No.
Because once you're inside one of your episodes, you can't stop it because you don't realize it at that moment.
And sometimes you black out.
Yeah, sometimes you black out. But now just start trying to watch yourself. Start trying to do things to help yourself. Distract yourself sometimes. Don't put yourself in these negative or high stressful situations. I know sometimes like you can't avoid them, but try as little as possible to put yourself in situations for you to spaz. See if the previous steps work, and if not, you can look at medication as an option. You can look at a bunch of different things as options. But I just feel like the main point of the podcast is just to bring awareness to mental health issues, because I feel like people take it with a grain of salt. Like, okay, I know it's out here, but it's not that big of a deal. One of the biggest stories over the last few years is when Kevin Love, the Cleveland Cavaliers, came out and spoke about anxiety and his mental health issues.
Yeah.
And then, who was it? I think it was Dak Prescott of the Dallas Cowboys just recently came out because his brother ended up killing himself just from this mental health issue. Yeah. And on top of that happening, to Dak Prescott, he's dealing with that plus his own mental health issue. So now he's coming out more and getting more involved in the communities about, okay, we gotta nip this in the bud. This mental health stuff is real. Like, everyone's mind is not wired the same.
And it's becoming so big of a deal. Well, it's not becoming. It's becoming so less of a deal that people are making fun of people who have mental illnesses. Like
Right.
when Kevin Love came out, oh, he has depression. Everybody, you're just lying. That's why you playing shit. No, he probably is going through some depression stuff. Money don't make you happy. Look at
Right.
Robin Williams. You don't.
Yeah.
You gotta think about situations and that. Like you gotta think about everybody's feelings in regards of everything, because everybody's battling with their own demons or battling with their own stresses and problems. And anxiety is one of the mental illnesses that is downplayed. Anxiety is horrible.
That's a real thing.
That's crazy. Like I have 20 hours worth of live lectures that I'm going through, and my anxiety is rising so much right now. Like I feel like I can't do it anymore. Like I don't want to do it, but I know I'm gonna end up doing it. But still, it's just like that hassle you have to deal with it. The shaking, the sweating,
the heart palpitations.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Remember when we was pregnant and
Yeah, I had crazy anxiety, like waking up at night, cold sweats,
heart pounding out your
heart
chest.
pounding. Like you just don't want to deal with it. But just to sum everything up, right now it's 1:00 in the morning. We did this podcast just because me and my wife was in a good mood, speaking about mental health issues and just knowing that we had to at least speak about it, even if we only get, like I always say, one listener, at least one person heard about mental health issues. Once you realize what you have, just go get help.
There's nothing wrong with it. Don't be ashamed.
Yeah, don't be ashamed of it, because once you get help, you'll actually you can actually reach your full potential in life. You can actually see how far you can come, because there's people out here who had mental health issues and then got it fixed up, or not fixed up, but like got help for it, and they're doing great in life.
And there's some people who don't deal with it and they commit suicide. They do crazy crimes, and that's one thing. Suicide is real too, but you gotta, I don't know, I'm not gonna say you have to think, but you have to try to think positive, because once you get past that one landmark, you're gonna be happy that you made it through that. You're gonna be happy that you lived another day.
You got to look at situations like when it comes to suicide, because like sometimes I know it's so overwhelming at that moment you're not thinking. It's a quick second boom, especially if it's like a gun involved, pills, a few minutes. So like it's a really quick thing for a situation that probably wasn't even that serious. It's usually probably some depression mixed with anxiety mixed with just being overwhelmed.
It's a lot of chemical imbalances.
Yeah,
all together at once.
It's hard to deal with that too, but just get help.
Get help and know that people love and support you.
Yeah, me and my wife are really big advocates for mental health. We're going to continue to advocate for mental health patients and mental health issues. On top of mental health, we're very big advocates for sickle cell anemia. We're very big advocates for sexual assault, women's rights, and things like that. Like we're very big advocates for these things, because it's the wave, to hop on that wave, everybody advocate for this. It's because we actually had to deal with these things. And a lot of people who are listening to this, or a lot of people who are out there, did not have to deal with it. They're hearing from someone else's perspective. But we can actually bring light to these things because we actually deal with them.
Yes.
Like the sickle cell thing, it's like a thing I deal with every single day, so we speak about it a lot. The mental health issues is not only something we dealt with, but seen throughout our lives. The sexual assault thing is more so a lot of things. Like I said, a lot of different things.
And that's the reason why we made the podcast, to help with all of them things and more. And we have a Facebook page, so people who do need help or just don't even feel comfortable speaking about other people, you can come to us anonymously. We'll help you. We'll get through it. And we're going to tell you more and more about our situations as the podcast proceeds. On like other episodes, you guys are going to hear our whole stories. So you guys can find us on Facebook at Through the Struggle. You can follow us on Instagram. It will be in our link below. And we have our separate Instagrams. It's all that. You guys can come help. I mean, we can help you guys as much as possible, give you guys advice as much as possible, or even if you guys just listen to our podcast every week, you're gonna get something out of it.
Yeah, and if you hear anything about me and my wife, don't believe it. Me and my wife are very good people. We just want to help people. We do have history past, because we did grow up in the hood in bad situations, and we're now just growing up and becoming. Like, we're trying to find ourselves.
Yeah.
Like, one thing I'm going to speak about off topic is, like, Me and my wife being in nursing school and actually coming out the situation of being in the hood, had to put this persona on that actually helped with my mental health so much. Because now I don't have to put this, oh yeah, I'm tough. Oh yeah, if I see you, you don't have to act like that anymore. Like we grew up so much, we got out of that mindset.
Yeah.
So like if you hear me and my wife or see us on social media and you're like, oh no, that's not how they act, or this is not who they are. No, this is actually who we are. This right here is almost finished product. We still have a long way to go, but we came so far.
And we're not the same as we were in our past. And another thing I also want to speak this off topic real quick is we do not come on this podcast to bash anybody. We come on here to help other people. And we do not speak on people. We do not speak bad about people because of that. But as far as everything, we're just trying to help each other. But that ends our podcast for today. So see you guys in the next episode.